Thank SCCA for the amazing organizing job they have done. This is the first conference of what we hope is a series. I'd also like to thank all of you in the audience. You can't have a conference without an audience, so we appreciate your attendance and also any good questions you may have. I'm going to talk briefly, essentially, since we're talking about family-run businesses, and if we consider this panel to be the setting for a meal, I'm going to set the places for a meal and talk a little bit about the causes or the sources of conflict in family business disputes in Saudi Arabia in particular. And then each of the speakers will build on that as we go. Every kind of business dispute can be viewed through essentially two different lenses. Think of bifocal eyeglasses, where one looks straight ahead in a distance to see things in the distance, clearly, and then when one looks down through the bifocals, through the lower part of the lens, to see things close up. In a dispute situation, we may consider the straight ahead, far away distance view to be factual issues, factual disagreements, the facts concerning issues for business like goals of the business, profitability, market share, personnel policy, the mechanisms of business conduct. These are facts. So they're through the faraway lens. The lower part of the lens may be considered the emotionally charged aspects where issues such as expectations, respect, recognition, a sense of importance, birth order, and financial security also drive the dispute. The far-sighted factual issues and the up-close, more personal, nearsighted issues are equally important in considering a dispute and how to resolve it. The challenge in resolving business disputes is to bring some alignment with both kinds of important issues, the far-sighted and the nearsighted, into the discussion and into the negotiation with an agreement that addresses both views and brings some clarity. Some of the business challenges that may be seen through the bifocal lens, both views, include things like new market opportunities inside and outside the country, demands of partners and investors, competition, lawsuits, new regulations or different regulations in other markets, economic recession. As if that's not complicated enough, let us complicate it a little more by considering the drivers of disputes in family businesses. This includes these factual, faraway, far-sighted issues and the more personal, emotional issues just mentioned. But now we have the overlay of complex matters of family history, tradition, birth order, transitions between generations, and a number of other important and strongly held perspectives and ideas within the family. A partial list of matters that may be woven into the fabric of the family-run business and may factor into any disagreements that arise include the following: birth order and related issues of respect, recognition, entitlement, both up and down the generational ladder. Business competence of aging parents or of the second and third generation children. Involvement of in-laws by marriage or other partners. Complicated ownership structure among various uncles and cousins. This is just a small sampling of important family considerations from which disputes may arise. Over 90% of the businesses in Saudi Arabia are family businesses, 9 out of 10. And these businesses make up a full 25% of the economy of Saudi Arabia. 70% of those family-run businesses are managed by first-generation founders of the business. 20% of those businesses are managed by second-generation, presumably frequently firstborn children. And 10% are managed by third generation. Each of those managerial generations will eventually have to deal with the matter of succession. Yet about 70% of the family businesses have no succession plans in place, none whatsoever. This can be a paralyzing problem for a business facing a sudden or even protracted disability of the founding generation. Even more complicated is the fact that some family businesses are managed by multiple siblings, sometimes cooperatively, sometimes each managing different parts of the business. The average Saudi family has 5 children. That's a lot of opinions. In a succession situation, they now have to take into account a large number of cousins, uncles, brothers, and other family members. So we can easily face a multiplication of the interests and concerns of various family members. Now add this additional piece to the fabric. For instance, where one of the founding generation brothers leaves the business, we may now be looking at a single business that's being run by first-generation family members, second-generation family members, and perhaps even third-generation family members, all at the same time. As we know, different generations grow up in different eras, with different experiences and different expectations. Along with that, there may simply be different views of what is possible and what's the best pathway to success. The business environment in this country is changing, bringing with it additional considerations. There may be and there will be new competitors. There may be different taxes to deal with. There may be business relationships with businesses from outside the country or even outside the region. Those businesses will bring their own norms and practices and attempt to adapt them to the Saudi environment. There are and will be more and more new markets opening up both inside and outside the country. There will be engagement of more business managers from outside the founding family. There is a changing workforce that will bring their own and sometimes different expectations. This then brings up the question of how to resolve such matters, which is really the point of this panel. About 70% of the succession difficulties currently in Saudi Arabia are now handled by the courts. Once there is a lawsuit involving a family business, it can be very difficult to restore a sense of harmony in the management of the business, even after the court makes a decision. But businesses operate best when there's alignment and agreement on vision, goals, and lines of authority. Without such alignment, the efficiency and progress of the business is at risk. So what can be done to remedy this lack of harmony? You have heard a bit yesterday and today, and you will hear more now about mediation from the speakers, but please consider this. Mediation, as it is provided by the SCCA, is a slightly different flavor from what you may have encountered in the past. Mediators do not push decisions or directions on the parties to the family dispute, but instead enhance the exploration of the positions and interests, the facts and feelings, as I previously mentioned, the far-sighted factual issues and the more personal, nearsighted issues. It is a private and dignified process where all stated issues and all concerns are legitimate considerations. What the mediator attempts to do with the parties is to restore some degree of harmony or at least an understanding and a degree of acceptance and a pathway for how the business will continue and move forward. Mediators will fully utilize the bifocal vision I talked about and assist the parties to deal with the far-sighted and nearsighted concerns equally. It will be an important business tool to enable prosperity for the family business in Saudi Arabia. Thank you.